You need to hear this because most people never see it coming. The moment you stop chasing them, they felt it right away. Not with relief, not with calm indifference. They felt it with a sudden and sharp clarity that shook something deep inside them. When you stop chasing, the world around them does not shift in small ways. It shifts in a big way. The person you once went after begins a quiet process of falling apart on the inside, even if nothing shows on the outside yet. This is where things get risky for them. They sense an empty space where your attention used to be, a space they never even noticed before because it was always filled. Now that space feels wide and open. They are not used to sitting with quiet like this, so they start to feel uneasy without knowing exactly why. If this is making sense so far, stay with it, because most people never understand this part. Your absence does not register in their mind as nothing. It works like a mirror instead. It shows them things they never wanted to look at about themselves. Deep down, they realize that the sense of control they had over you has quietly disappeared. And what happens when that control disappears? Their mind grows restless. It turns uneasy in ways they cannot explain to themselves. It starts to whisper things they feel too embarrassed to admit out loud. The thoughts they avoid all day come back to visit them at night. They begin to wonder if they wanted you for who you really are, or just for how you made them feel important. Now that you are no longer there to make them feel that way, that old image of themselves starts to crack. They cannot fully see it happening yet, not in their waking thoughts. Their mind feels pulled between what they hope for and what they are afraid of. That pull creates a kind of quiet unrest they cannot name easily. They start picturing your life moving on without them. Every laugh you share with someone else, every smile that has nothing to do with them, every moment you spend not thinking about them starts to sting in a quiet way. Here is the part that surprises a lot of people. It is not only longing they feel, there is anger mixed in too, along with fear and guilt they cannot sort out. It shows up in behavior that seems strange or even reckless at times. Most people never face these feelings directly. They run from the discomfort instead. They act like it is not there, but you have brought it out into the open just by pulling back, by stepping away and letting them sit with an emptiness they were never ready for. Something old and basic wakes up inside them. Something buried under years of self-deception starts to stir. That inner voice that stayed quiet for so long grows louder. It tells them they cannot lose you and they cannot let you go easily. They start replaying every conversation, every message, every look, every small moment between you. They study themselves closely and they study you too. They try hard to find the exact point where they might be able to pull you back. And here is the part that feels most unsettling to them. They feel a strong pull to do something about it. Not always in a planned way. Sometimes suddenly, without thinking, because the mind hates loose ends and uncertainty more than almost anything else. You have created the biggest kind of uncertainty for them. You might not even notice it from where you stand. You might believe silence feels peaceful and that absence causes no harm. But absence, used the right way, becomes one of the strongest forces there is. The moment they understand they cannot make you chase them anymore is the moment their outer calm starts to crack. Once that calm slips, everything they kept hidden starts to surface. All the things they pushed down for years begin rising up. And this is the risky part, because the composed person they show the world is no longer who they recognize inside. They struggle to make sense of it, even when it feels impossible to explain. In your silence, you have become the center of something unraveling inside them. But here is what keeps this going. What comes next is something they cannot predict. Even they do not fully know it yet themselves. The silence you created is not empty at all. It works like a mirror, showing them everything they have been avoiding. And that reflection is getting ready to speak loudly to them. They cannot stop thinking about it, not because they choose to, but because the space you left behind refuses to be ignored. Here is a truth they keep hidden, even from their own thoughts. Absence feels scarier than a clear rejection. Rejection has a shape you can see and understand. Absence feels like disorder instead. It is an empty space where their deepest worries paint themselves freely. This is where things start getting complicated for them. They begin to notice every small detail they missed before, every gap in conversation, every slow reply, every smile that does not include them becomes important. Each small pullback in your attention lands like a heavy blow. They replay moments that seemed unimportant at the time, that joke you enjoyed without them there, that quick glance you gave someone else, that message you did not answer right away. All of it plays over and over in their head. In that constant replay, they start finding patterns, or what they believe are patterns. Their mind desperately tries to make meaning out of it all. Their pride cannot sit with unclear situations, and unclear situations are exactly what you gave them by stepping back. Here is the quiet fear that grows in them. They start doubting their own choices. Did they read you wrong? Did they push too hard? Did they fail to value you when they had the chance? Every hidden doubt rises up like an old ghost paying a visit. Most people do not realize that the mind does not accept loss quietly. It looks for ways to fix it instead. When no real fix appears, it makes one up. It builds stories, reasons, and explanations just to feel some sense of control again. At first, this shows up in small ways, like a quick urge to reach out, or a passing curiosity about what you are doing. Then it grows stronger, with repeated thoughts and even dreams about undoing what happened. The regret becomes sharp and bitter. They start to feel trapped inside their own head, because your distance has triggered something very basic in them. The realization that they cannot win you back through pressure, tricks, or charm anymore. This is usually the point where people start to unravel in their thinking, because the mind is not built to stay comfortable without control. Deep down, they carry a quiet fear that they might lose you for good. This fear does not follow clear logic. It runs on old instincts from the deepest part of the mind, the part that wants to reach out and demand answers right away. And here is a hard truth many avoid. Their mind begins making plans without asking permission from their rational thoughts. They might tell themselves they need to prove they care more, or that they need to make you chase them again, or worse, they feel a pull to make you pay for walking away. When pride feels wounded, right and wrong start to blur. All the composed outer appearances start to fall apart. All the excuses they told themselves and the social masks they wore begin to melt away. This is where it starts to feel deeply personal for them. They are now dealing with strong emotions they cannot manage well. Desire, jealousy, guilt, and embarrassment crash together in a way that feels too heavy to carry. Yet they still cannot act calmly. They swing back and forth between two states, one where they deeply want your attention, and one where they are afraid of how strong that want feels. One where they wish to reconnect, and one where they feel disgusted with themselves for needing you this much. Here is the strange twist in all of this. You did almost nothing at all. You simply stopped chasing them, and by doing that little, you have stirred the deepest and most private parts of their mind, the parts they have kept hidden for years, the parts they are too embarrassed to admit even to themselves, the quiet voice inside them that says they feel weak, that they are not enough, and that they want something they cannot easily have. Most people try to escape these feelings fast. They look for distractions or try to reason the worry away with logic. But this is not something logic can fix easily. This is a deep and direct kind of inner panic leaking into their everyday life. And here is where things can shift quickly. The longer you stay away, the stronger the disorder inside them becomes. They start noticing things about you they used to ignore. The way you carry yourself with confidence, the way you smile freely without them around, the way your days keep moving forward smoothly. Every new observation stings. Every new realization adds to the pressure building inside them. Yet they remain stuck between fear and desire, between what they badly want and what they are ready to openly admit. In that stuck place, they start imagining situations they never pictured before. Dreams of having control again. Dreams of getting back together. Dreams of somehow evening the score. Because your stepping back has revealed an honest fact. You were never theirs to direct or own. You never really were, and that fact is hard for them to sit with. Here is the open question this leaves behind. They are alert now, even if they are not fully aware of it. Part of their own mind has turned against their old sense of self, and they do not know where it leads next. The unraveling has already started, and you are at the center of it without doing much at all. It begins in small ways, like unexplained tightness in the body, a sudden wave of worry that catches them off guard. But it keeps growing and spreading. A steady unease creeps into every thought, every urge, every quiet moment. Here is the hard truth they eventually have to face. Your absence is not nothing. It works like a mirror they cannot look away from, and what they see in it scares them. They see themselves without any covering. They see their own weakness, their strong need, and their fear of depending on someone else. For a long time they hid behind the idea that they were in control, that they were above it all, that they did not need anyone. And you removed that illusion without doing much of anything. Most people assume that facing someone requires direct action. That assumption is wrong. Stepping away is its own powerful form of confrontation. Staying silent can be just as strong. Refusing to chase becomes the strongest move of all. Now their inner mind comes alive. Every buried wish rises to the surface. Every false story they told themselves comes back around. All the pride and resistance they leaned on surges like a wave. They feel a strange mix of longing and anger at the same time. Care tangled with worry. Desire tangled with regret. They might catch themselves staring at their phone, fingers ready to send a message, knowing they should not, but struggling to resist. In that uncertain moment, the crack inside them deepens because every person carries hidden corners of worry and secret wishes, and when life moves outside their control, those corners grow larger and start pushing outward, looking for a way through. They might try to appear calm and reasonable on the surface, but their inner mind does not pretend. It speaks quietly. It pulls steadily. It keeps tugging at them. And through your absence, you set that pull in motion. They picture you living your life, moving forward, not thinking about them at all. Each picture stings their pride. Each one reminds them they cannot force you, and they cannot take back what you have chosen to hold back. Here is the most delicate part of all. This is when repeated thoughts and fixed focus start to build, because the mind dislikes empty space even more than it dislikes pain. It cannot sit with nothing without inventing some kind of meaning. When no meaning is given, it creates one. They will search for reasons and motives. They will go back over old conversations in detail, examining every small thing. Every memory turns into something sharp, pointed back at themselves. Every question they ask, every story they tell themselves, is really fear dressed up as ordinary thinking. Underneath it all, older and more basic instincts take over, the part of the mind that came before rules and clear reasoning, the part that simply wants and reacts. It starts making plans, not in open thought, but somewhere quieter and deeper. And you remain at the center of that storm for them. They may feel pushed to reach out, just to check, just to see if you will respond. Because when absence reaches that deep part of the mind, control feels distant and strange. Desire and worry take over clear thinking. Their inner sense of self strains under something it cannot manage, and the pressure keeps building because they cannot fully let go yet. Every sign of your independent life hits them hard. Every glimpse of a world that does not include them cuts deep. And the hard part is, you cannot see any of this happening. They are caught in their own thoughts, spinning through a private storm that started the moment you simply stepped back. This is not just ordinary emotional hurt. It becomes a kind of mental pressure that changes how they see everything. It sharpens their focus and magnifies every weakness and worry they carry. And the hardest part for them is that they do not understand why they feel this way. Their rational mind tries to stay composed, but the deeper mind has already taken over. They are caught in the uncertainty you left behind, in the unknown, in a silence that feels louder than words ever could. And still, on the outside they may show almost nothing, at least for now. The unrest keeps building quietly underneath. Their thoughts feel unsteady. Their desire is tangled with worry. Their hopes are stained by regret. Their focus has grown intense and hard to control. They are close to a breaking point, and when the mind reaches that stage, it usually leads either to real change or to real disorder. And at the center of that confusion is you. This is the moment they are moving toward without realizing it. Your absence has done its quiet work slowly and without announcement. Choosing not to chase has taken apart the sense of control they thought they had. Now the outer cover is gone. They look into the space you left and see themselves clearly, not the version they present to others, but the honest, uncertain, and afraid person underneath. Here is the uncomfortable fact. They do not like what they see. They do not like the weakness, the need, the fear of losing something. They do not like the constant pull that bothers them, but they cannot look away from it either. They cannot forget it, because absence revealed something that chasing never could. Most people never go through this kind of reckoning. Most never meet the version of themselves that appears once the person they wanted steps away. Now they are stuck in a difficult place. They want you, but they fear how much they want you. They wish for connection, yet they pull back from the intensity of that need. This is where their inner voice starts speaking more clearly. It tells them they need you, but not in the old way, not with the old ease. They feel exposed, fully seen for who they really are, and that feeling is heavy. The protection they used to rely on is gone. What follows cannot really be avoided. The unrest breaks open. They may reach toward you in small ways or big ones, but it will not be the old dynamic anymore, because now they know they have lost the comfort of being the one in control. This is the plain truth most people never face directly. You were never theirs to direct. You were never theirs to hold on to without effort. By stepping back and ending the chase, you placed them in front of the hardest mirror there is, their own mind. Every doubt, every worry, every hidden wish they buried for years now stands in front of them clearly, with no room to hide. They start to see things they overlooked before, weak points they excused, moments they chose not to notice. The self-reflection feels heavy now, because it is no longer only about you. It is about them, their pride, their defenses, and the illusions they built that are now falling apart. Here is the quiet power in your silence. It did not push them into action through tricks or pressure. It caused real self-awareness simply by being absent. No one can force someone into honest reflection by chasing them. No one can hand someone their own mirror. It takes distance and real boundaries. It takes strength to stop playing the old game. Now they have to face themselves. Some will fall apart completely. Some will get angry. Some will try to win back what they cannot have anymore, but all of them will change in some way. All of them will wake up to truths they could not accept before. Here is the strange and almost fitting contradiction to end on. You did almost nothing, and yet everything shifted, because once the chasing stops, the real situation begins. It was never really about pursuing someone else. It is about looking inward. It is about being seen clearly. It is about facing yourself honestly and without flinching. They feel it now, staring into that empty space. The quiet, steady strength of someone who refuses to be controlled. Someone who will not chase and will not shrink themselves down for anyone else's comfort. This is what your absence accomplished, something that words, actions, and requests never could. It created real self-awareness, not just for them, but for a truth that was always there, hidden underneath worry, desire, and denial, waiting quietly for the noise to settle so it could finally be heard. And the one thought they cannot escape is this: I wanted them, but they were never mine to chase. And now I finally understand that the person I have been avoiding this whole time was myself.